Okay, so here is a little demonstration about how the ext designer and ext.js can interact with rxext. What I've done, I'll start a little bit first showing you what the end result is. It's not really very impressive at this point, but what you see is what an ext is called a data grid, editable data grid, and this is populated directly from a request that went to a rxext server in the background and serves records back from a MySQL database. And this is editable, so I can go here and change Johnny to Don, and this is now actually being written back to the server automatically. If we reload this page, we can see that in fact this change, as we had edited it, has taken effect. So what went on here in order to get to this point? Well, I'll quickly go, let's take a look at the ext designer here. You start out by defining a new data store. I've done this already. At the data store, in the data store you can show, here we go, you can define a number of fields for the ID, first name, last name, and so on and so forth. And for the store itself, you're defining a URI, which is this one here. And a couple of other fields, particularly the ID property, which is the index field into the database, whether or not you want to automatically load and save, and whether or not the store should be RESTful. Okay, then you define these different fields, as we said already. It's very simple, you just specify the name. And finally you start adding a grid, and to the grid you are attaching, you can probably see this here, you can attach the store that you have defined. You can attach this to the grid. And once you do this, you can define how the individual fields of the grid relate to the store. And so you have things like the column, where is it here? Column heading, or the header, yes. You have the header, which can be different than the data index. Data index here in the particular field is the same, but for first name, let's see, you have a header of first, but the data index first underscore name, which refers to an item in the data store. So you go and attach this, and you can load the data here in the designer, but the problem is that you cannot model any actions here at all. You cannot tell this grid how data should be saved. You cannot add anything like this. So you export this, it produces a bunch of files. Then in order to actually get to the point where it would save the data back to the store and do it correctly, I had to hand edit the various JavaScript files that it had produced. So these are the files that it has produced. And so, for example, in the file xts index.js, I had to go and add a few lines of code down here in order to tell it to load properly, and after editing was done, to commit records. There might be a way in which you can tell the store to just do this automatically for you, but it was not clear how to do this. Likewise, there was another file where I also had to hand edit a file which specifically said do not hand edit a file. I had to hand edit this. So there are still a lot of rough edges here. Furthermore, when the data was written back to rxext, it was done in a strange sort of format. So I had to add into rxext the ability to specify a content type as part of the URI, overriding the content type headers, and do some extra handling. Also not very nice, but okay, so here we have it. It can write it back, but at this point there's still way too much hand editing of these ext designer project files going on. There's one file that is okay to hand edit, but I'm making some changes there as well, but it is not it's not sufficient. Apparently I need to make some changes somewhere else too. So it would be nice if we could have some feedback from the Sencha guys about how to avoid this, how to get a little bit better about this. But anyway, so this is where we are right now. It works now. I can create a grid, And with a little bit of hacking in the central project files, I can get to the point where I can edit data in here and write it back to a rxext backed data store. So, okay, that's it. Thank you.